हेलो फ्रेंड्स, मैं आपके लिए लेकर आया हूँ एक बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट वीडियो जो कि आपके लिए काफ़ी हेल्पफुल होने वाली है। मोस्टली सीए स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, जो कि स्टूडेंट सीए क्या है। सीए एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी कोर्स है जो कि स्टूडेंट या तो क्लास 12th क्लियर करने के बाद करता है या आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन। अगर आप क्लास 10 क्लियर करने के बाद करते हैं तो आपको इसमें फर्स्ट स्टेज फाउंडेशन, सेकंड स्टेज इंटरमीडिएट, देन थर्ड स्टेज फाइनल, जो कि आपको एग्जाम्स देने होते हैं। अगर आप ग्रेजुएशन रूट से आते हो तो आपको ओनली सेकंड स्टेज एंड थर्ड स्टेज, जो कि ये दोनों ही आपको एग्जाम्स देने होते हैं, जो कि दोनों में दो दो ग्रुप्स होते हैं जो कि आपको क्लियर करना होता है। अगर आप चाहे तो सिंगल ग्रुप्स भी दे सकते हो एंड बोथ ग्रुप भी दे सकते हो, जो कि ये कोई से भी सब्जेक्ट का स्टूडेंट हो, या उसने साइंस लिया हो या कॉमर्स लिया हो या मैथ लिया हो या एग्रीकल्चर हो या आर्ट्स हो, ये कोई मैटर नहीं करता है। इसमें एक क्राइटेरिया है जो कि स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, इसमें अगर कॉमर्स से आता है स्टूडेंट तो उसके लिए इसका मिनिमम परसेंटेज का क्राइटेरिया है जो कि ग्रेजुएशन के बाद 55%। देन अगर स्टूडेंट अदर सब्जेक्ट लिया उसने 12th के बाद, जो कि उसके लिए मिनिमम परसेंटेज का क्राइटेरिया है 60%। और ये इसके बाद स्टूडेंट्स या तो सीए कर सकता है, सीएस कर सकता है, सीएमए कर सकता है या एमबीए कर सकता है, जो कि अभी पॉपुलर कोर्स है ज़्यादा। सीए यानी कि चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी कोर्स, सीएस मीन्स कंपनी सेक्रेटरी, सीएमए मीन्स कॉस्ट एंड मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटेंट, एमबीए मीन्स मास्टर ऑफ बिजनेस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, जो कि आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे। मोस्टली सीए स्टूडेंट्स के लिए काफ़ी हेल्पफुल होगी ये वीडियो, जो कि हम इसमें सीए फाउंडेशन, सीए इंटरमीडिएट एंड देन सीए फाइनल, जिसमें कि आपके इसमें कौन कौन से पेपर्स होते हैं, कितने पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किए गए हैं, इसमें आपके कौन कौन से कितने मॉड्यूल हैं, इसमें कितने चैप्टर्स को डिवाइड किया गया है, चैप्टर्स में कितनी यूनिट्स को डिवाइड किया गया है, जो कि हम सब एक्सप्लेन में डिस्कस करेंगे। जो कि सीए फाउंडेशन, इसमें आपके टोटल 4 पेपर्स होते हैं, जो कि फर्स्ट है प्रिंसिपल्स एंड प्रैक्टिस ऑफ अकाउंटिंग, देन सेकंड business laws and business correspondence and reporting, then third business mathematics and logical reasoning and statistics, then fourth business economics and business and commercial knowledge। सीए इंटरमीडिएट, जिसमें कि टोटल 8 पेपर्स होते हैं आपके, जो कि आप अगर 4 फर्स्ट ग्रुप देना चाहते हो तो आप फर्स्ट ग्रुप भी दे सकते हो, जिसमें कि 4 पेपर्स रहेंगे। देन सेकेंड, जिसमें कि 4 पेपर्स रहेंगे, जिसमें कि फर्स्ट है अकाउंटिंग, देन सेकेंड कॉर्पोरेट एंड अदर लॉज, देन थर्ड कॉस्ट एंड मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग, देन फोर्थ टैक्सेशन, जिसमें कि आपका इनकम टैक्स एंड जीएसटी इंक्लूड रहता है, देन फिफ्थ एडवांस्ड अकाउंटिंग, then sixth auditing and assurance, then seven enterprise information system and strategic management, then eight financial management and economic for finance। देन CA फाइनल, जो कि लास्ट स्टेज होता है। फर्स्ट पेपर फिनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग, देन सेकंड स्ट्रेटेजिक फिनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट, देन थर्ड एडवांस्ड ऑडिटिंग एंड प्रोफेशनल एथिक्स, देन फोर्थ corporate and economic laws, then fifth strategic cost management and performance evaluation, then sixth जो कि आपके इसमें 6A 6B 6C 6D 6E जो कि इलेक्टिव सब पेपर्स होते हैं, जिसमें कि आप एक सेलेक्ट कर सकते हो कोई सा भी जो आपको अच्छा लगे, जो कि आप जिसमें कि आपका इंटरेस्ट हो। देन इसमें सिक्स्थ है 6A रिस्क मैनेजमेंट, 6B फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज एंड कैपिटल मार्केट्स, 6C इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन, 6D इकोनॉमिक लॉज, 6E ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स, देन पेपर 7 डायरेक्ट टैक्स लॉज एंड इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन, देन पेपर 8 इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स लॉज। सीए फाउंडेशन, जिसमें कि आपका फर्स्ट पेपर है प्रिंसिपल्स एंड प्रैक्टिस ऑफ अकाउंटिंग, जिसमें कि मॉड्यूल 1 चैप्टर 1 थ्योरेटिकल फ्रेमवर्क, इसमें की है यूनिट 1 मीनिंग एंड स्कोप ऑफ अकाउंटिंग, यूनिट 2 अकाउंटिंग कंसेप्ट्स प्रिंसिपल्स एंड कन्वेंशंस, यूनिट 3 accounting terminology glossary, unit 4 capital and revenue expenditure and receipts, unit 5 contingent assets and contingent liabilities, unit 6 accounting policies, unit 7 accounting as a measurement discipline, evaluation principles, accounting estimates, unit 8 accounting standards, unit 9 Indian accounting standards, chapter 2 accounting process, unit 1 basic accounting procedures journal entries, unit 2 ledgers, unit 3 trial balance, unit 4 subsidiary books, unit 5 cash book, unit 6 rectification of errors, chapter 3 bank reconciliation statement, chapter 4 inventories, chapter 5 concept and accounting of depreciation. Chapter 6 accounting for special transactions, unit 1 bill of exchange and promissory notes, unit 2 sale of goods on approval or return basis, unit 3 consignment, unit 4 average due date, unit 5 account current, module 2nd, chapter 7 preparation of final accounts of sole proprietors, unit 1 final accounts of non-manufacturing entities, unit 2 final accounts of manufacturing entities, chapter 8 partnership accounts, unit 1 introduction to partnership accounts, unit 2nd treatment of goodwill in proprietary partnership accounts, unit 3 admission of a new partner, unit 4 retirement of a partner, unit 5 death of a partner, chapter 9 financial statements of not for profit organizations, chapter 10 company accounts, chapter unit 1 Introduction to Company Accounts. Unit 2nd, Issue, Forfeiture and Reissue of Shares. Unit 3, Issue of Debentures. Then, Paper 2nd, Business Laws and Business Correspondence of and Reporting. Section A, Business Law. Chapter 1, The Indian Contract Act 1872. Unit 1, Nature of Contracts. Unit 2nd, Consideration. Unit 3, Other Essential Elements of a Contract. Unit 4, Performance of Contract. Unit 5, Breach of Contract and its Remedies. Unit 6, Contingent and Quasi Contracts. Chapter 2nd, The Sale of Goods Act 1930. Unit 1, Formation of the Contract of Sale. Unit 2nd, Conditions and Warranties. Unit 3, Transfer of Ownership and Delivery of Goods. Unit 4, Unpaid Seller. Chapter 3, The Indian Partnership Act 1932. Unit 1, General Nature of a Partnership. Unit 2nd, Relations of Partners. Unit 3, Registration and Dissolution of a Firm. Unit 4, The Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. Chapter 5, The Companies Act 2013. Section B, Business Correspondence and Reporting. Chapter 1, Communication. Chapter 2, Sentence Type, Active, Passive Voice and Direct, Indirect Speech. Chapter 3, Vocabulary. Chapter 4, Comprehension Passages. Chapter 5, Note Making. Chapter 6, Introduction to Basics of Writing. Chapter 7, Precise Writing. Chapter 8, Article Writing. Chapter 9, Report Writing. Chapter 10, Formal Letters and Official Communication. Part A, Part 1, Formal Letters. Then Part 2, Official Communication. Chapter 11, Writing Formal Mails. Chapter 12, Resume Writing. Chapter 13, Meetings. Then Paper 3rd, Business Mathematics and Logical Reasoning and Statistics. Part A, Business Mathematics. Chapter 1, Ratio and Proportion, Indices, Logarithms. Chapter 2nd, Equations. Chapter 3, Linear Inequalities. Chapter 4, Time Value of Money. Chapter 5, Basic Concepts of Permutations and Combinations. Chapter 6, Sequence and Series, Arithmetic and Geometric Progressions. Chapter 7, Sets, Functions and Relations. Chapter 8, Basic Concepts of Differential and Integral Calculus. A. Differential Calculus. B. Integral Calculus. Part B, Logical Reasoning. Chapter 9, Number Series, Coding and Decoding and Odd Man Out. Chapter 10, Direction Tests. Chapter 11, Seating arrangements. Chapter 12, blood relations. Part C, statistics. Chapter 13, statistical description of data. Chapter 14, measures of central tendency and dispersion. Unit 1, measures of central tendency. Unit 2, dispersion. Chapter 15, probability. Chapter 16, theoretical distributions. Chapter 17, correlation in regression. Chapter 18, index numbers. Then paper 4, business economics and business and commercial knowledge. Part A, business economics. Chapter 1, nature and scope of business economics. Unit 1, introduction. Unit 2, basic problems of an economy and role of price mechanism. Chapter 2, theory of demand and supply. Unit 1, law of demand and elasticity of demand. Unit 2, theory of consumer behavior. Unit 3, supply. Chapter 3, theory of production and cost. Unit 1, theory of production. Unit 2, theory of cost. Chapter 4, price determination in different markets. Unit 1, meaning and types of markets. Unit 2, determination of prices. Unit 3, price output determination under different market forms. Chapter 5, business cycles. Part 2, business and commercial knowledge. Chapter 1, business and commercial knowledge and introduction. Chapter 2, business environment. Chapter 3, business organizations. Chapter 4, government policies for business growth. Chapter 5, organizations facilitating business. Chapter 6, common business terminologies. First, accounting, CA Intermediate. Module 1, Chapter 1, Introduction to Accounting Standards. Chapter 2, Framework for Preparation and Presentation of Financial Statements. Chapter 3, Overview of Accounting Standards. Unit 1, Applicability of Accounting Standards. Unit 2, Overview of Accounting Standards. Module 2, Chapter 4, Financial Statements of Companies. Unit 1, Preparation of Financial Statements. Unit 2, Cash Flow Statement. Chapter 5, Profit or Loss Pre and Post Incorporation. Chapter 6, Accounting for Bonus Issue and Right Issue. Chapter 7, Redemption of Preference Shares. Chapter 8, Redemption of Debentures. Module 3, Chapter 9, Investment Accounts. Chapter 10, Insurance claims for loss of stock and loss of profit. Chapter 11, Hire purchase and installment sale transactions. Chapter 12, Departmental accounts. Chapter 13, Accounting for branches including foreign branches. Uh, Chapter 14, Accounts from incomplete records. Part 1, Framework for preparation and presentation of financial statements. Part 2, Applicability of accounting standards to various entities. Part 3, Accounting standards. Then second paper, Corporate and other laws. Part 1, Company law. Chapter 1, Preliminary. Chapter 2, Incorporation of company and matters incidental thereto. Chapter 3, Prospectus and allotment of securities. Chapter 4, Share capital and debentures. Chapter 5, Acceptance of deposits by companies. Chapter 6, Registration of charges. Chapter 7, Management and administration. Chapter 8, Declaration and payment of dividend. Chapter 9, Accounts of companies. Chapter 10, Audit and auditors. Part 2, Other laws. Chapter 1, The Indian Contract Act 1872. Unit 1, Contract of Indemnity and Guarantee. Unit 2, Bailment and Pledge. Unit 3, Agency. Chapter 2, The Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. Chapter 3, The General Clauses Act 1897. Chapter 4, Interpretation of Statutes. Then Paper 3, Cost and Management Accounting. Module 1. Chapter 1, Introduction to Cost and Management Accounting. Chapter 2, Material Cost. Chapter 3, Employee Cost. Chapter 4, Overheads Absorption Costing Method. Chapter 5, Activity-Based Costing. Chapter 6, Cost Sheet. Chapter 7, Cost Accounting System. Module 2. Chapter 8, Unit and Batch Costing. Chapter 9, Job Costing and Contract Costing. Chapter 10, Process and Operation Costing. Chapter 11, Joint Products and Byproducts. Chapter 12, Service Costing. Chapter 13, Standard Costing. Chapter 14, Marginal Costing. Chapter 15, Budget and Budgetary Control. Then paper 4, Taxation. Section A, Income Tax Law. Module 1. Chapter 1, Basic Concepts. Chapter 2, Residence and Scope of Total Income. Chapter 3, Incomes which do not form part of total income. Module 2. Chapter 4, Heads of Income. Unit 1, Salaries. Unit 2, Income from House Property. Unit 3, profits and gains of business or profession. Unit 4, capital gains. Unit 5, income from other sources. Module 3, Chapter 5, income of other persons included in assessee's total income. Chapter 6, aggregation of income, set off and carry forward of losses. Chapter 7, deductions from gross total income. Chapter 8, computation of total income and tax payable. Chapter 9, advance tax, tax deduction at source, and introduction to tax collection at source. Chapter 10, provisions for filing return of income and self-assessment. Section B, indirect taxes. Module 1, Chapter 1, GST in India, an introduction. Chapter 2, supply under GST. Chapter 3, charge of GST. Chapter 4, exemptions from GST. Chapter 5, time and value of supply. Unit 1, time of supply. Then Unit 2, value of supply. Module 2, Chapter 6, input tax credit ITC. Chapter 7, registration. Chapter 8, tax invoice. Credit and debit notes, e-way bill. Chapter 9, payment of tax. Chapter 10, returns. Then paper 5, advanced accounting. Module 1, Chapter 1, application of accounting standards. Chapter 2, partnership accounts. Unit 1, dissolution of partnership firms. Unit 2, amalgamation, conversion and sale of partnership firms. Module 2, Chapter 3, accounting for employee stock option plans. Chapter 4, buyback of securities and equity shares with differential rights. Chapter 5, amalgamation of companies. Chapter 6, internal reconstruction. Chapter 7, liquidation of companies. Appendix Schedule 3 to the Companies Act 2013. Module 3, Chapter 8, banking companies. Unit 1, some relevant provisions of the Banking Regulations Act 1949. Unit 2, books of accounts, returns and forms of financial statements. Unit 3, capital adequacy norms. Unit 4, income recognition, classification of assets and provisions. Unit 5, some special transactions of banks. Unit 6, preparation of financial statements of banks. Chapter 9, non-banking financial companies. Chapter 10, consolidated financial statements. Then paper 6, Auditing and Assurance. Module 1, Chapter 1, Nature, Objective and Scope of Audit. Chapter 2, Audit Strategy, Audit Planning and Audit Program. Chapter 3, Audit Documentation and Audit Evidence. Chapter 4, Risk Assessment and Internal Control. Chapter 5, Fraud of Responsibilities of the Auditor in this regard. Chapter 6, Audit in an Automated Environment. Chapter 7, Audit Sampling. Chapter 8, Analytical Procedures. Module 2, Chapter 9, Audit of Items of Financial Statements. Chapter 10, The Company Audit. Chapter 11, Audit Report. Chapter 12, Audit of Banks. Chapter 13, Audit of Different Types of Entities. Then paper 7, Enterprise Information System and Strategic Management. EIS. Section A, Enterprise Information System. Chapter 1, Automated Business Process. Chapter 2, Financial and Accounting System. Chapter 3, Information System and its components. Chapter 4, E-commerce, M-commerce and emerging technologies. Chapter 5, Core Banking System. Section B, Strategic Management. Chapter 1, Introduction to Strategic Management. Chapter 2, Dynamics of Competitive Strategy. Chapter 3, Strategic Management Process. Chapter 4, Corporate Level Strategies. Chapter 5, Business Level Strategies. Chapter 6, Functional Level Strategies. Chapter 7, Organization and Strategic Leadership. Chapter 8, Strategy, Implementation and Control. Then paper 8, Financial Management and Economics for Finance. Section A, Financial Management. सॉरी इसमें टी का थोड़ा सा मिस्टेक हो गया. Module 1, Chapter 1, Scope and Objectives of Financial Management. Chapter 2, Types of Financing. Chapter 3, Financial Analysis and Planning, Ratio Analysis. Chapter 4, Cost of Capital. Chapter 5, Financing Decisions, Capital Structure. Chapter 6, Financing Decisions, Leverages. Module 2, Chapter 7, Investment Decisions. Chapter 8, Risk Analysis in Capital Budgeting. Chapter 9, Dividend Decisions. Chapter 10, Management of Working Capital. Unit 1, Introduction to Working Capital Management. Unit 2, Treasury and Cash Management. Unit 3, Management of Inventory. Unit 4, Management of Receivables. Unit 5, Management of Payables, Creditors. Unit 6, Financing of Working Capital. Then Section B, Economics for Finance. Chapter 1, Determination of National Income. Unit 1, National Income Accounting. Unit 2nd. The Keynesian Theory of Determination of National Income. Chapter 2nd. Public Finance. Unit 1. Fiscal Functions and Overview. Unit 2nd. Market Failure. Unit 3. Government Interventions to Correct Market Failure. Unit 4. Fiscal Policy. Chapter 3. Money Market. Unit 1. The concept of money demand, important theories. Unit 2nd. The concept of money supply. Unit 3. Monetary policy. Chapter 4. International trade. Unit 1. Theories of international trade. Unit 2nd. The instruments of trade policy. Unit 3. Trade negotiations. Unit 4. Exchange rate and its economics effects. Unit 5. International capital movements. Then CA final. First paper first. Financial reporting. Module 1. Chapter 1. Conceptual framework for financial reporting under Indian accounting standards. Chapter 2nd. Indian accounting standards on presentation of general purpose financial statements. Unit 1. Indian accounting standard 1. Presentation of financial statements. Unit 2nd. Indian accounting standard 34. Interim financial reporting. Unit 3. Indian Accounting Standard 7. Statement of cash flows. Chapter 3. Indian Accounting Standard 115. Revenue from contracts with customers. Chapter 4. Indian Accounting Standard on measurement based on accounting policies. Unit 1. Indian Accounting Standard 8. Accounting Policies, Changes in Accounting Estimates and Errors. Unit 2nd. Indian Accounting Standard 10. Events after the reporting period. Unit 3. Indian Accounting Standard 113. Fair Value Measurement. Chapter 5. Other Indian Accounting Standards. Unit 1. Indian Accounting Standard 20. Accounting for government grants and disclosure of government assistance. Unit 2nd. Indian Accounting Standard 102. Share-based payment. Chapter 6. Indian Accounting Standard 101. First time adoption of Indian Accounting Standard. Annexer Division 2nd of Schedule 3 to the Companies Act 2013. Then Module 2nd, Chapter 7 Indian Accounting Standard on Assets of the Financial Statements. Unit 1 Indian Accounting Standard 2nd Inventories. Unit 2nd Indian Accounting Standard 16 Property, Plant and Equipment. Unit 3 Indian Accounting Standard 116 Leases. Unit 4 Indian Accounting Standard 23 Borrowing Costs. Unit 5 Indian Accounting Standard 36 Impairment of Assets. Unit 6 Indian Accounting Standard 38 Intangible Assets. Unit 7 Indian Accounting Standard 40 Investment Property. Unit 8 Indian Accounting Standard 105 Non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations. Chapter 8 Indian Accounting Standard 41 Agriculture. Module 3 Chapter 9 Indian Accounting Standard on Liabilities of the Financial Statements. Unit 1 Indian Accounting Standard 19 Employee Benefits. Unit 2 Indian Accounting Standard 37 Provisions, Contingent Liabilities and Contingent Assets. Chapter 10 Indian Accounting Standard on Items Impacting the Financial Statements. Unit 1 Indian Accounting Standard 12 Income Taxes. Unit 2 Indian Accounting Standard 21 The Effects of Charges in Foreign Exchange Rates. Chapter 11 Indian Accounting Standard on Disclosures in the Financial Statements. Unit 1 Indian Accounting Standard 24 Related Party Disclosures. Unit 2 Indian Accounting Standard 33 Earnings per share. Unit 3 Indian Accounting Standard 108 Operating Segments. Chapter 12 Accounting and Reporting of Financial Instruments. Unit 1 Financial Instruments Scope and Definitions. Chapter 2 Classification and Measurement of Financial Assets and Financial Liabilities. Unit 3 Financial Instruments Equity and Financial Liabilities. Unit 4 Derivatives and Embedded Derivatives. Unit 5 Recognition and Derecognition of Financial Instruments. Unit 6 Hedge Accounting. Unit 7 Disclosure. Module 4 Chapter 13 Business Combination and Corporate Restructuring. Chapter 14 Consolidated and Separate Financial Statements of Group Entities. Unit 1 Introduction to Consolidated and Separate Financial Statements. Unit 2 Important Definitions. Unit 3 Indian Accounting Standard 110 Consolidated Financial Statements. Unit 4 Consolidation Procedure for Subsidiaries. In Unit 5 Indian Accounting Standard 111 Joint Arrangements. Unit 6 Indian Accounting Standard 28 Investments in Associates and Joint Ventures. Unit 7 Indian Accounting Standard 27 Separate Financial Statements. Unit 8 Disclosures. Chapter 15 Analysis of Financial Statements. Chapter 16 Integrated Reporting. Chapter 17 Corporate Social Responsibility. Then paper second Strategic Financial Management. Chapter 1 Financial Policy and Corporate Strategy. Chapter 2 Risk Management. Chapter 3 Security Analysis. Chapter 4 Security Valuation. Chapter 5 Portfolio Management. Chapter 6 Securitization. Chapter 7 Mutual Funds. Chapter 8 Derivatives Analysis and Valuation. Chapter 9 Foreign Exchange Exposure and Risk Management. Chapter 10 International Financial Management. Chapter 11, Interest Rate Risk Management. Chapter 12, Corporate Valuation. Chapter 13, Mergers, Acquisitions and Corporate Restructuring. Chapter 14, Startup Finance. Then Paper 3, Advanced Auditing and Professional Ethics. Module 1, Chapter 1, Auditing Standards, Statements and Guidance Notes and Overview. Chapter 2, Audit Planning, Strategy and Execution. Chapter 3, Risk Assessment and Internal Control. Chapter 4, Special Aspects of Auditing in an Automated Environment. Chapter 5, Company Audit, Annexer, Schedule 3 to the Companies Act 2013. Chapter 6, Audit Reports, Module 2. Chapter 7, Audit Committee and Corporate Governance. Chapter 8, Audit of Consolidated Financial Statements. Chapter 9, Audit of Banks. Chapter 10, Audit of Insurance Company. Chapter 11, Audit of Non-Banking Financial Companies. Chapter 12, Audit under Fiscal Laws. Then Module 3, Chapter 13, Audit of Public Sector Undertakings. Chapter 14, Liabilities of Auditor. Chapter 15, Internal Audit, Management and Operational Audit. Chapter 16, Due Diligence, Investigation and Forensic Audit. Unit 1, Due Diligence. Unit 2, Investigation. Unit 3, Forensic Audit. Chapter 17, Peer Review and Quality Review. Unit 1, Peer Review. Unit 2, Quality Review. Chapter 18, Professional Ethics. Then Paper 4, Corporate and Economic Laws. Part 1, Corporate Laws. Module 1, Section A, Company Law. Chapter 1, Appointment and Qualifications of Directors. Chapter 2, Appointment and Remuneration of Marginal Managerial Personnel. Chapter 3, Meetings of Board and its Powers. Chapter 4, Inspection, Inquiry and Investigation. Chapter 5, Compromises, Arrangements and Amalgamations. Chapter 6, Prevention of Operation and Mismanagement. Chapter 7, Winding Up. Chapter 8, Producer Companies. Module 2, Section A, Company Law. सूर्य मिस्टेक से है मेरा इसमें सेक्शन भी आता. Chapter 9, Companies incorporated outside India. Chapter 10, Miscellaneous Provisions. Chapter 11, Compounding of Offences and Adjudication Special Courts. Chapter 12, National Company Law Tribunal and Appellate Tribunal. Chapter 13, Corporate Secretarial Practice, Drafting of Notes, Resolutions, Minutes and Reports. Section B, Securities Laws. Chapter 1, the Securities Contract Regulations Act 1956 and the Securities Contract Regulation Rules 1957. Chapter 2, the Securities Exchange Board of India Act 1992 and SEBI Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirement Regulations 2015. Part 2, Economic Laws. Module 3, Chapter 1, the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. Chapter 2, the Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002. Chapter 3, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Chapter 4, Foreign Contribution Regulations Act 2010. Chapter 5, the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Chapter 6, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Then paper 5, Strategic Cost Management and Performance Evaluation. Part A, Strategic Cost Management and Decision Making. Chapter 1, Introduction to Strategic Cost Management. Chapter 2, Modern Business Environment. Chapter 3, Lean System and Innovation. Chapter 4, Cost Management Techniques. Chapter 5, Decision Making. Chapter 6, Pricing Decisions. Part B, Performance Evaluation and Control. Chapter 7, Performance Measurement and Evaluation. Chapter 8, Divisional Transfer Pricing. Chapter 9, Strategic Analysis of Operating Income. Chapter 10, Budgetary Control. Chapter 11, Standard Costing. Chapter C, Case Study. Chapter 12, Case Study. Then paper 6A, Risk Management. Chapter 1, Introduction to Risk. Chapter 2, Source and Evaluation of Risks. Chapter 3, Risk Management. Chapter 4, Evaluation of Risk Management Strategies. Chapter 5, Risk Model. Chapter 6, Risk Credit Risk Measurement and Management. Chapter 7, Risk Associated with Corporate Governance. Chapter 8, Enterprise Risk Management. Chapter 9, Operational Risk Management. Then paper 6B, Financial Services and Capital Markets. Part A. Chapter 1, Global Financial Markets. Chapter 2, Impact of Various Policies of Financial Markets. Chapter 3, Capital Market Primary. Chapter 4, Capital Market Secondary. Chapter 5, Money Market. Chapter 6, Institutions and Intermediaries. Chapter 7, Commodity Market. Chapter 8, Banking is Source of Capital including NBFCs. Chapter 9, Mutual Funds. Chapter 10, Private Equity. Chapter 11, Investment Banking. Chapter 12, Credit Rating. Chapter 13 Treasury Operations, Chapter 14 Risk Management, Chapter 15 Credit Derivatives, Chapter 16 Leasing, Chapter 17 Factoring, Part B, Chapter 1 SEBI ICDR Regulations 2018, Chapter 2 SEBI LODR Regulations 2015, Chapter 3 SEBI Prohibition of Insider Trading Regulations 2015, Chapter 4 SEBI Buyback of Securities Regulations 2018, Chapter 5 SEBI Mutual Funds Regulations 1996. Then paper 6C International Taxation, Chapter 1 Transfer Pricing, Chapter 2 Non-Resident Taxation, Chapter 3 Double Taxation Relief, Chapter 4 Advanced Rulings, Chapter 5 An Overview of the Black Money and the Imposition of Tax Law, Chapter 6 Taxation of E-commerce transactions, Chapter 7 Tax Treaties Overview, Features, Application and Interpretation, Chapter 8 Anti-avoidance measures, Chapter 9 Overview of model tax conventions. Then paper 6D Economic laws, Chapter 1 The Competition Act 2002, Chapter 2 The Real Estate Regulations and Development Act 2016, Chapter 3 The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016, Chapter 4 The Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, Chapter 5 The Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, Chapter 6 Prohibition of Benami Property Transactions Act 1988, Chapter 7 The Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002. Surface. देन इसमें एक और है जिसमें कि चैप्टर्स नहीं थे, यानी कि 6E. देन पेपर 7 डायरेक्ट टैक्स लॉज एंड इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन, पार्ट 1 डायरेक्ट टैक्स लॉज, मॉड्यूल 1, चैप्टर 1 बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स, चैप्टर 2 residence and scope of total income, chapter 3 incomes which do not form part of total income, chapter 4 salaries, chapter 5 income from house property, chapter 6 profits and gains of business or profession, chapter 7 capital gains, chapter 8 income from other sources, module 2 chapter 9 income of other persons included in assessee's total income, chapter 10 aggregation of income, set off and carry forward of losses, chapter 11 deductions from gross total income, chapter 12 assessment of various entities, chapter 13 charitable or religious trusts and institutions, political parties and electoral trusts, Chapter 14, Tax Planning, Tax Avoidance and Tax Evasion. Module 3, Chapter 15, Deduction, Collection and Recovery of Tax. Chapter 16, Income Tax Authorities. Chapter 17, Assessment Procedure. Chapter 18, Appeals and Revision. Chapter 19, Dispute Resolution. Chapter 20, Penalties. Chapter 21, Offences and Prosecution. Chapter 22, Liability in Special Cases. Chapter 23, Miscellaneous Provisions. Part 2, International Taxation. Module 4, Chapter 1, Transfer Pricing and Other Provisions to Check Avoidance of Tax. Chapter 2, Non-Resident Taxation. Chapter 3, Double Taxation Relief. Chapter 4, Advance Rulings. Chapter 5, Acquisition Levy. Chapter 6, Application and Interpretation of Tax Treaties. Chapter 7, Fundamentals of Base Erosion and Profit Shifting. Chapter 8, Overview of Model Tax Conventions. Then Paper 8, Indirect Tax Laws. Part 1, Goods and Services Tax. Module 1, Chapter 1, GST in India and Introduction. Chapter 2, Supply under GST. Chapter 3, Charge of GST. Chapter 4, Exemptions from GST. Chapter 5, Place of Supply. Chapter 6, Time and Time of Supply. Chapter 7, Value of Supply. Module 2, Chapter 8, Input Tax Credit. Chapter 9, Registration. Chapter 10, Tax Invoice, Credit and Debit Notes. Chapter 11, Accounts and Records Viewable. Chapter 12, Payment of Tax. Unit 1, Payment of Tax, Interest and Other Amounts. Unit 2, Tax Deduction at Source and Collection of Tax at Source. Chapter 13, Returns. Module 3, Chapter 14, Import and Export under GST. Chapter 15, Refunds. Chapter 16, Job Work. Chapter 17, Assessment and Audit. Chapter 18, Inspection, Search, Seizure and Arrest. Chapter 19, Demands and Recovery. Chapter 20, Liability to play in certain cases. Chapter 21, Offences and Penalties. Chapter 22, Appeals and Revisions. Chapter 23, Advance Ruling. Chapter 24, Miscellaneous Provisions. Part 2, Customs and FTP. Module 4, Chapter 1, Levy of and Exemptions from Custom Duty. Unit 1, Introduction to Customs Law. Unit 2, Levy and Exceptions. Chapter 2, Types of Duty. Chapter 3, Classification of Imported and Export Goods. Chapter 4, Valuation under the Customs Act 1962. Chapter 5, Importation, Exportation and Transactions of Goods. Chapter 6, Warehousing. Chapter 7, Duty Drawback. Chapter 8, Refund. Chapter 9, Foreign Trade Policy. Unit 1, Introduction to FTP. Unit 2, Basic Concepts relating to Export Promotion Scheme under FTP. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can change the world.